This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore.
Today's video is brought to you by Established Titles. Before I get started today, you may have heard about an incident in Boise, Idaho, my home, Idaho, where a cop has been exposed as a virulent white supremacist, speaking at white nationalist conferences. My wife was raised, if you don't know, by Nazis in Idaho. They moved from Southern California to Idaho to be closer to Aryan Nation and the Nazis there. And Brittany talks about this at length in a great video, I think her best yet, over on her channel that's already posted. Go watch that video. It will be linked below. Now, let me talk about yesterday's terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day for Donald Trump. I outlined yesterday in a video the 4 separate cases that were before courts across the country on unrelated matters related to Donald Trump. A few of those did not go his way. A few of them have just started. And then his own Supreme Court ruled against him related to his tax returns being turned over to Congress. His own Supreme Court. Because remember, 3 members of this current Supreme Court were picked and approved by Donald Trump and the Republicans. Chickens, something, something, coming home to roost. I'm going to read a little bit from this New York Times article about it, very briefly, like 4 paragraphs. And then I'm going to read a statement by Donald Trump because he is losing it. He is crumbling, disintegrating before our eyes. He's losing it. He's panicking. He is freaked out about what is to come. And I think maybe, just maybe, he's starting to realize that running for president is not going to extricate him from his current myriad legal troubles. I'm going to get to all of this, but before I do, a word from today's sponsor, Established Titles. I just saw my first snowman in Target the other day, but we're still a ways away from Halloween. Instead of focusing on my task list, old Frosty got me thinking about the holidays and the gifts that I have to buy for all the people that I want to thank for their friendship and their support during this year. Shopping for most people now is impossible, though, when you can go to Amazon and order everything from a Rolex to a record. At the gift intersection of great cause and good laugh is Established Titles. It's based on the Scottish custom where landowners are referred to as either lords or ladies. Established Titles allows you to purchase at least 1 square foot of dedicated land on a private estate in Eddleston, Scotland, and thus become a lord. Your purchase comes complete with an official certificate like this one. Lord Dollemore. Has a pretty natural ring to it, don't you think? With your order, Established Titles plants a tree and works with global charities to support reforestation efforts all over the world. Head to establishedtitles.com/Dollemore right now to get in on their early Black Friday sale and save an additional 10%. This is a super fun way to aid global reforestation efforts while at the same time you diversify your cultural portfolio. You can officially change your name to Lady or Lord, whomever. Your certificate features a unique plot number, which allows you to see the exact location of your land. Established Titles even offers couples packs that come with adjoining plots. And speaking of which, the first 200 people to buy a title pack using my link will basically be next to my plot, only a short walk away. If enough of you join, we could build our own little Dollemore kingdom. So square up. Established Titles is a perfect gift for friends or relatives, both old and new. Get in on their early Black Friday sale and score 10% off using code Dollemore. Go to establishedtitles.com/Dollemore to support this channel and lord over the holidays. All right, let's plug on here. Let's press on. I'm going to read from this New York Times article entitled, "In Blow to Trump, Supreme Court Permits House to Obtain His Tax Returns." Ending a long legal fight, the Supreme Court rejected the former president's, ex-president's, request that it block the IRS from turning over the files. The Supreme Court cleared the way on Tuesday for a House committee to obtain former ex-President Donald J. Trump's tax returns, refusing his request to block their release after a years-long fight. The court's brief order, which was unsigned and did not note any dissents, was another decisive defeat for Trump, delivered by a court that had moved to the right with his appointment of 3 justices, as I have previously spoken about. The decision means the Treasury Department is likely to soon turn over 6 years of his tax returns to the House, which has been seeking his financial records since 2019. Representative Richard Neal, Democrat of Massachusetts, who requested the files as chairman of the Ways and Means Committee, said in a statement that his panel would now conduct the oversight that we've sought for the last 3.5 years. But Mr. Neal did not say whether the committee would publish these returns to the public. An aide of the Ways and Means Committee, speaking on the condition of anonymity to discuss a sensitive matter, said no decision would be made until lawmakers receive the files. And then again, as I always do, if there's a statement from the party in question that we're speaking about, lawyers for Mr. Trump, who announced last week that he would run for president again, did not immediately respond to a request for comment. They didn't need to, because Donald Trump's over on Trump Social losing his mind. And that is where this leaves us right now. That is where I come in to read in glorious, whiny fashion Donald Trump's statement. So here we go to read a statement by Donald J. Trump, 45th President of the United States of America. It seriously never gets old. I could just sit here in my home all day reciting that statement over and over and amuse myself for hours. So he went on Truth Social, his failing social media outlet, and he said this: "Why would anybody be surprised that the Supreme Court has ruled against me? They always do. It is unprecedented to be handing over tax returns, and it creates terrible precedent for future presidents. Has Joe Biden paid taxes on all the money he made illegally from Hunter and beyond? The Supreme Court has lost its honor, prestige, and standing, and has become nothing more than a political body, with our country paying the price. They refuse to even look at the election hoax of 2020. Shame on them! Exclamation point." So clearly, he's not having a good day. It is a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day for Donald Trump, and it will continue to be so. Now look, there's a lot of consternation about this on the right. What right does Congress have? Well, clearly they have a right. It was written in law in the early part of the 20th century. Early 1920s, I think it was before 1930, that this was written into law that Congress has a right not just to pull presidents' tax returns, but any citizen. And there is, indeed, a legislative agenda that could be followed here that is justifying the pulling of these tax returns. Tom Fitton, the non-lawyer president of Judicial Watch, tweeted this little gem: "Will Republicans now seek the tax returns of Obama and the Clintons?" To which I replied something about every modern president has released, what did I say? Every modern president except Trump has already released their tax returns. So yeah, Republicans could request those tax returns. They're there for the taking. They're already public you dum-dum. And an intrepid follower of me on Twitter had this to say: he literally has fact checker in his bio. So this is what I want to do. I want to talk about this particular issue because, one, there is absolutely a legitimate need for these relative to writing legislation about a myriad of instances of whether or not a president should be required to release their tax returns, or any number of obvious improprieties that went on during Donald Trump's reign as an autocratic president. But here we go. Look at this. This is a website that outlines and actually provides the different tax returns for presidents. So we got Joe Biden here. A long list of tax returns going back to 1998 for President Joe Biden. Kamala Harris on the scene far less time than Joe Biden. We have her 2020 tax returns. She just became vice president. There we go. President Donald Trump, conspicuously, there is no link to one of his tax returns because he did not provide them. Here's Barack Obama, a long list going back to the year 2000. Here's President George W. Bush, a long list going back to the year 2000. Here's President Bill Clinton, a long list going back to 1992. H.W. Bush, 3 years. Ronald Reagan, back to 81. Jimmy Carter was only president 1 term. Here's some tax returns for him. Gerald Ford, there's an exception here. He provided a tax summary in 1977. Again, wasn't a multi-term president. And President Richard Nixon. So we're going back to Richard Nixon. And the reason he started doing it was because he was under scrutiny for his corruption, rampant corruption. And before that, you've got President FDR here with a long list. He was president forever. And you got a long list of his. So it is only Donald Trump that has not released his tax returns. Another bad day for Donald Trump, that even this Supreme Court is willing to follow the law that is clearly written, that Congress absolutely, without doubt, under the constitutionality of the whole question, has a right to any citizen's tax returns. It's written in law. What do you think about this? I'd love to know. Let's parse this out. We can talk about it in the comments. You can also leave me a brief voicemail, 714-576-4054. You can email me the old-fashioned way, daily@dollemore.com. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear from you on Twitter as long as it still exists. I am at Dollemore there, and on Instagram and on TikTok at Dollemore. Accept no substitute or imitators. If you appreciate what I do, the little research that I do, the facts and the knowledge that I may impart to you on a daily or weekly basis, please consider supporting my work, helping produce my content here. You can click the join button below, become a channel member for $1.99 a month, or you can click your browser over to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast and help support my work there. I love you guys. I appreciate you very much. I'll see you next time. Until I do, be genuine. Take care of one another.